Hey everyone, welcome to this Eagle version 1.2 vlog. So this is an upgraded version of Eagle. We have already talked about Eagle as the core AI engine for agentic AI use cases. The full form of Eagle being Enterprise Augmented Gen AI and LLM engine, which is the backbone for enterprise agentic AI use cases, and which is exposed as a chatbot and an API for it to be used in chatbot mode or in any other business process automation agentic AI use cases. We'll do refresh about Eagle a little bit. So, what was Eagle? Eagle is definitely not just another AI powered chatbot, it's much more than that. It is a foundational AI engine designed to power intelligent enterprise solutions. Built with advanced GenAI and LLM capabilities, Eagle serves as a backbone for implementing enterprise agentic AI use cases, enabling organizations to augment decision making, automate workflows, and drive business transformation. Now, the fact remains is why do you need Eagle? You have ChatGPT, you have Gemini, which are kind of perfect GenAI personal assistants to us, and we have all benefited from their usage. However, just to remind you that all of these are typically built on public data till a certain point of time. So it is not private to the enterprise data. So for agentic AI to succeed within enterprises, each and every enterprise needs practically a LLM of their own, which will have the contextual awareness and intelligence of their data, based on which and deriving the insights out of which it would be able to build kind of agentic AI use cases, which are nothing but autonomous or semi autonomous pieces of code which would be able to automate any business process. Obviously, there are very simple and kind of more accepted usages of these kind of engines, which is in the form of either live AI chat, which replaces the live chats that you have today, which are more of typically a IVR based model. You have a queue and then you have a series of question answer modes with options given, and you select an option accordingly. Things are kind of displayed. So that is what a live chat is all about today. But it can be much more freewheeling, like a chat GPT mode, where end customer is able to very uh, freely converse with the agent. And in case an agent is not able to answer, it is able to kind of pass it on, create a CRM ticket, and pass it on to a human agent who can then kind of go back to the customer with the necessary information with a seamless flow between the end customer, the cyborg, and the human. So, and similarly, I think if you want a chat GPT kind of a model for your own enterprise, where which is able to kind of give details on the enterprise only, and which is able to kind of ensure enterprise data security, which is able to ensure fine-grained access control on the data and information that is being kind of given out to any particular individual or any particular user based on his emoluments or based on his own privileges. So then I think the purpose is served. So that is what Eagle was all about, and we'll give you a link on the vlog, which is specifically on this Eagle. Now, our main objective of this particular vlog is to look at the enhancements which has been done to it, and which is version 1.2. So there are significant upgradations to the core AI engine at this point of time, and some basic UI user experience enhancements in the either the agentic live AI chat or the enterprise chatbot, which is mainly the front end part of it, so that you are more seamlessly able to converse with the agent. But the core enhancements are on the AI engine itself. So let's take a look at what it is all about. So the first feature that we want to kind of highlight out here is a stateful chat. By nature, any kind of chat, and that kind of involves any Gen AI chatbots that you talk about, is stateless. So when within a chat you ask a question, and then subsequent to that there is another question and a subsequent question. So each question is being answered in its own sole entirety. It doesn't necessarily have the context of what came before that. This is by default. Now, obviously, in order for these chats to be more context aware, to be more enriched in terms of quality of information that is exchanged between the user and the agent, it needs to have the state, or need to have understanding of the state, which is, we call it the stateful chat. So this typically kind of involves a two-pronged strategy. One is summarizing the overall exchanges, or summarizing the old messages which has happened till date in a particular chat. And then recency has a very profound effect on an interaction. So it is very important to have the exact same information as it is part of a recent exchanges. However, there are other complexities, like if it is in context and subcontext, we'll come to that a little later. But that is what typically a stateful chat should mean. That along with whatever questions are being asked, along with whatever we fetch out of the data, along with that, we also send a sense of the history context, which is the history of all the discussions which has happened till date in that particular chat. Let's get into the second one. The second one is memory aware chat. Now, memory aware chat typically means the engine is or the agent is able to kind of remember certain cues, or remember certain information or additional information which is given by the user. It's not always that the user asks a question. At times, it basically gives you certain information. A simple example can be that I say the agent, okay, I'm working on a Windows 11 laptop, and then please ensure that the answers that you give me henceforth are basically in context of Windows 11 laptop. The other choice might be a Ubuntu laptop, or a Ubuntu machine, or Ubuntu server, or whatever that is. So this is just an example which I could come up with. There are thousand such examples where you go and say, please note, please remember, or take note of this. This is kind of the messages which you give to a GenAI chatbot, or a GenAI agent. Um, in such cases, the agent is expected to acknowledge the message, and as opposed to giving any query response, it is supposed to use that information, save that information, persist that information, and use it for improving the quality and improving the context of subsequent messages. So, this is what is called memory context. And we'll see how all of these contexts come together. The next one is dynamic entity context memory and context switching. I think it is probably the single most difficult thing to do. Now, what is this? Now, when we start a chat, obviously the base core default context that is being set is of the enterprise for which the LLM has been trained. So, in this particular case, the example that we have been using, Immortal is an enterprise on which the LLM has been modeled. So for this particular in this particular instance, Ematel, which is the enterprise, is the overall context. It is the parent context or the default context. However, let's say Ematel has different service lines. It has different case studies, different blogs, and it might want to give separate focus on any one of these or all of these. So in that particular case, these will need to be defined as separate subcontexts. So using these subcontexts, uh, whenever during the course of our chat exchange, these subcontexts are referred to, then the subsequent messages should continue with this subcontext reference. And we'll see examples of that down the line. And definitely, I think you cannot guide, or you cannot bound the user on what sequence they're asking a question, because it's a freewheeling discussion like a human does with another human. In order to replicate that kind of an activity, there will be scenarios where you will start on a default context, move on to a subcontext, from there move on to some other subcontext, revert back to the default context, and the process goes on. And this is what is called context switching. And this is what once again gets added as an entity context. And we'll see how this matters. Now, when a question is asked, or when there is a query in a chat, in a Gen AI agent scenario, the full context which is sent back as a as for formulating the response to that query consists of the following thing. The first is called a RAG context. It's a retrieval augmented, the full form of that is retrieval augmented generation, which is nothing but like your enterprise data has been indexed into different files. Now, specific to the query which is raised, it finds the most relevant information out of those indexing of the enterprise data which has happened in advance. So that is what it retrieves the relevant context for that particular query. Now, is that sufficient? Most of the people actually talk about rack context. I think that's the most common thing which is told. But practically, it is not. It requires history context, which we already talked about, summarization of old messages plus recent messages, which helps it to bring out the right part, the information out of the rack context. Then comes the entity context, which we once again discussed. There is a default enterprise context plus subcontext specific to the enterprise. This also helps in improving the quality of a query. And lastly, a memory context. If there is certain things specific to a chat, specific to a context that the user has saved. So in that particular case, that specific piece of information might be able to improve the quality of the information. Obviously, all of these has increasing costs because I mean, if you do it all in a what do you say, a paid Gen AI solution, in that particular case, I think all of these will involve more and more tokens, and each of these tokens has a cost involved in it with it. Now, this is where I think these are the highlights which we want to kind of showcase to you. 90%, approximately 90% of the entire Agentic Eagle 1.2 solution is on open source. So what that means is that it significantly reduces the number of tokens which is required. And as the quality, in order to improve the quality of the response, the number of tokens actually keeps on increasing. And if we can open source it, the overall token charges can be optimized. On top of that, we have seen which is how to optimize the minimum cost or how to bring down the token charges to the bare minimum. And Agentic aims in the next few months to completely go open source. And as we have already mentioned in our earlier videos, that it's completely configurable. So an entire LLM is consisted of multiple features. We have broken down those features and have used different open source solutions for each one of those features, which are kind of configurable. We can move from one model to another depending upon the specific requirements and applicability for that enterprise, because all data is not the same. There might be different models which might suit different conditions. So that level of optimization is achieved through this configurability of models and the hyperparameters which control those models. Based on the enterprise data security requirement, Eagle version 1.2 can be deployed completely on premises if you want it, or in any form of hybrid environments that you want. Now, the most important thing, the enterprise data is in indexed format. It resides within the enterprise context or within the enterprise boundary. It is not kind of exposed outside the boundary. The entire full context that we talked about in the earlier slide is created within Eagle. So this ensures enterprise data security. It is possible to build fine-grained access control. It does require some extra amount of work. Uh, if it is done through prompts, I think it can be done without any extra infrastructure. If we need to kind of create multiple instances of Eagle to cater to different user group privileges, it might require a little bit of enhanced infrastructure. But this is a quality and a capability which is already there ingrained within Eagle version 2, and which once again ensures enterprise data security. Hi everyone. We have talked about the enhancements which has been uh, done on top of Eagle, or done as part of the Eagle version 1.2. We'll take a look at a demo of the enterprise chat, or typically the live AI chat version, through which we'll get insights into the core functionings of the AI engine, which is Eagle. So let's start with basically logging into the system. So this is an access control system. So once we have logged in, at this point of time, the context is set to Immortal, which is the enterprise on which this particular LLM has been built or has been trained. As you can see that we wanted to see the blocks that they have. It comes up with the links. You can click on the links and directly reach the respective page for that particular block. So at this point of time, as you have seen, these are the kind of services, these are the kind of blocks that they have. If I want to kind of understand more about a particular block, in this particular case, AI in semiconductor manufacturing, let's see what comes up. So this is what is about AI in semiconductor manufacturing. Now, AI in semiconductor manufacturing, which is a blog, is set as a subcontext of Immortal. So the context in this particular case is set to this particular thing. Let's see if it is able to understand and kind of answer the next question based on this subcontext, which is AI in semiconductor engineering. So that's what we're asking. What is AI powered automation expected to achieve in this? And if you see the response, this is basically specific to the AI in semiconductor manufacturing blog. After that, we are asking what is immortal. Probably we should have asked it at the very beginning, but in order to kind of showcase the capabilities, we just decided to kind of do it at a little later. So, what is immortal is once again setting back the context to immortal, and then we say list down the case studies. So these are the case studies which are part of immortal. So it understands and switches the context to immortal and kind of lists down the case studies corresponding to that. Now let's see if we ask about any one particular case study out here. So elaborate on the case study AI-driven churn analysis. Yeah, it's able to kind of understand that. So here you see the context switching back from a parent context to a child context or a sub context, and then back to parent context, and then to a different context. And here you see once again the context switches back to Emerton, who is the CEO of Emerton. And now, this is something that we had fed and saved in a memory. We had given this as an information some time back, and we want to see if it is able to fetch back that information. And in this particular case, it is in the context of the chat and that particular context. Yes, it is able to fetch that. So this is the API interface which you should be able to access directly from this particular link, which is given out here. This brings out the API exposure of Eagle, and which can be used for kind of formulating or orchestrating the agentic AI use cases for an enterprise. You already know about this, and then we'll just jump on to the kind of products that we have, which are direct offshoots of Eagle or which runs on top of Eagle. We have an enterprise chatbot and a live AI chat. And then there are other custom agentic AI use cases which can be built on top of Eagle version 1.2 for an enterprise. So just quickly running you through, the live chat is already implemented on immortal.com. If you want to kind of have access to it, you can reach out to us and we would be happy to kind of extend access to you. And obviously, I think we have already talked about how Agentic live chat is different from a live chat. Here you can contact us, and then these are the contact details that you have. Thanks a lot.